Good evening. Welcome to the Other 24 Report. I'm Seymour Guff, and this is what's happening. In today's world, it seems that any opinion that goes against the government or big pharma narrative is automatically labeled as misinformation. Who gets to determine what is factual and what is misinformation? Follow the science, they say. Okay. Isn't science about research, analysis, and debate in an effort to find the truth? Why has the CDC held back data and redacted reports on vaccine research, clinical trials, vaccine effectiveness, and adverse reactions? By not presenting all data for scientists and doctors to analyze, this restricts our ability to make an informed decision on the safety of the vaccines. 500 independent doctors, scientists, and healthcare practitioners in Canada have come together to share their collective knowledge and expertise and to present scientifically based findings and interpretations as the Canadian COVID Care Alliance. Their informative videos can be viewed on their website at CanadianCovidCareAlliance.org. Here are a few observations made by this very qualified group of professionals. Point number 1, COVID-19 vaccines cannot stop the transmission. If you made that statement just a short while ago, you were labeled with misinformation and canceled from social media, and in many cases, fired from your job. This point was contested early on by mainstream media like MSNBC, with Rachel Maddow claiming the complete blocking of the virus by the vaccinated population.
Now we know that the vaccines work well enough that the virus stops with every vaccinated person. A vaccinated person gets exposed to the virus does not infect them. The virus cannot then use that person to go anywhere else.
This claim by Maddow, as it turned out, was completely and absolutely false, and actually qualifies as a drastic form of misinformation. But Rachel Maddow is still on the air and continues to spread unscientific opinions. Point number 2, the current vaccines being given are not effective against COVID variants, like Omicron. Despite this undisputed fact, governments and big pharma continue to push for 100% vaccination rates with the outdated jabs. And they are still pushing the vaccination of young children, who are at virtually zero risk, and pharma has admitted they don't know the vaccine's long-term effects on children. Does this seem responsible to you? Point number 3. Vaccinated individuals are actually at an increased risk of contracting the Omicron variant when compared to the unvaccinated. And, based on Moderna's and Pfizer's own data, there are safety concerns that their vaccines could increase the potential for vaccine-associated enhanced respiratory disease. These points aren't misinformation. They are verifiable scientific facts from the scientific community, as well as from Big Pharma's own clinical data. So why are the governments and media calling the CCA's findings misinformation? They also fail to provide any convincing data or insights to their own illogical narratives and crazy mandates. Yet, they are still trying to shut down any debate or opposing viewpoints.
Again, they want to shut down speech, call it disinformation, kill any opposing viewpoint. He was one of the biggest critics of the Great Barrington Declaration, physicians and researchers.
I mean, he wants to use the Department of Justice. He wants to criminalize scientific debate. Let's just think about that for a moment. I mean, I think people who are confident in their ideas are not afraid of discussion and debate. What you have is a group of people a small group of people. Hotez is actually funded by Fauci's group. Much of his funding comes from the NIAID, led by Fauci. I think you have a small group of people who have wanted to create an illusion of a scientific consensus that does not exist and did not exist. They've pulled the wool over the eyes of the American people, and the American people should demand better.
This absence of in-depth analysis of the real science and the lack of verification of government and pharma claims doesn't seem to be slowing down some celebrities looking to promote themselves in the self-serving and prolific cancel culture our generation has found themselves neck deep in. Many celebrities appear to be taking advantage of the vaccine controversy for renewed exposure, and many are now weighing in, supporting the non-science, pro-vaccine narratives, even in the face of verifiable scientific data to the contrary. They are leveraging their hapless and myopic fan base to ignorantly push vaccination propaganda and to unjustly shame those who just want autonomy over their own body and medical decisions and don't wish to risk their health on an experimental injection. We now go to Gabriela Perez, our other 24 entertainment reporter, for more on this story.
This Yasin, Neil Young, has made a statement about the Spotify, the very popular music and podcast streaming service. He is telling them, cancel your organ or I will take my music off of Spotify. Really, Bobby? Is that what you really want to do? So you are the science and medical expert now? Who does this guy think he is? Hey, Neil, what happened to rocking in the free world, Bobby? I guess that was all your crap. My man Joe Rogan and his podcast, in good faith, he welcomed qualified doctors to share their professional opinions, specifically Dr. Malone and Dr. McCullough. And they talked about their scientific data and their interesting medical perspectives based on years of research and professional experience. But because what they had to say was different than what Neil Young believed, Neil wants them silencie, and he called what they had to say disinformation. According to who, Neil? You? Come on, Chico. Who makes you the free speech gatekeeper? Stick to your music, sweetheart. Nobody cares about your uninformed medical opinions. On the bright side, Spotify stay with free speech and your organ. Good on you, Spotify. Bye-bye, Neil. We won't be missing you, Poppy. Oh, and that goes for you too, Yoni Mitchell. Back to you, Seymour.
Thanks, Gabriela. And for more, we go to Salvatore Silvaggio. Salvatore.
Thank you, Seymour. What with these late night TV hosts? Is this the place where everyone should be getting their medical advice now? A whole bunch of these late night TV guys, they doing the bigger promotion for the vaccination. This Kimmel guy, he think he's a medical expert or what? He's insulted the unvaccinated and he said they don't deserve the ICU hospital beds. He say if they get sick, well, that's too bad. That's not funny. He's a nasty guy. The latest show with Stephen Colbert, he have a regular thing on his show called the vaccine. He say he have all of the vax facts. Well, it seemed to me that this messages were not the facts. What he say was wrong. And he lied to the people, and he make it a big deal to promote the pharma companies. I don't like this guy. I wonder if the bigger pharma sponsor his show.
Making a difference. Brought to you by Pfizer. CNN Tonight. Brought to you by Pfizer. Early Start. Brought to you by Pfizer. Friday night on Aaron Burnett Out Front. Brought to you by Pfizer.
This Week with George Stephanopoulos is brought to you by Pfizer.
Good Morning America is brought to you by Pfizer.
CBS Health Watch sponsored by Pfizer. Anderson Cooper 360. Brought to you by Pfizer.
ABC News Nightline. Brought to you by Pfizer.
Oh, what I'ma think? Probably that no happen. What do you think? Anyway, get off of you high horse, Calberti, and stop shoving the shit. You should not talk about the things you don't know nothing about. Your show supported the big pharma lies. I'ma never watch you show anymore. These guys are a part of making the segregation of all of the people and helping to spread the lies. Shame on you guys. And then there's this guy, Howard Stern, the radio show guy. If there was an award for the hate speech and the biggest stupido, this guy would have won for sure. What did he say? He say the hospitals should be closed to the unvaccinated, and they should go home and die. Son of a bitch. If this guy say that about the other minority group, he'd be canceled and there'd be a protest outside his studio. But no. He's still spewing his hate on the radio. Uno stronzo. Pesa de merda. I'm gonna get too upset now about this crazy guy. Back to you, Seymour.
Thanks, Salvatore. So that's what's happening. This is Seymour Guff with the Other 24 Report. Signing off until next time. Keep asking questions and looking for answers. Everyone has 24 hours in their day. Which 24 will you live?